thinking? What are you thinking? I'm thinking we're probably gonna die here.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reboots that destroyed a franchise.
Oh, God. So clumsy. Sorry about that. I gotta go. Gotta be there for that resurrection. Gonna be better than the Beatles.
For this list, we'll be looking at film revivals so poorly received they put an end to their respective franchises or prospective sequels. Which reboot dashed your hopes and dreams? Share your pain with us in the comments below. Number 10. Baywatch. The original Baywatch series isn't exactly what we'd call highbrow, but it certainly had its charm.
Don't do anything stupid. We don't want to be passing out pictures of you all later on today.
Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the 2017 film adaptation. Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron should have been a comedic match made in heaven, and maybe they would have been with a better plot.
All right, well listen, tomorrow I'll make my pecs a little bigger, and don't cover up my front bump.
You got it.
Following the lifeguard team as they attempt to stop a drug lord, Baywatch earned 5 Razzie nominations, including Worst Picture and Worst Screenplay. Plans for a potential sequel were put into motion the month it came out, yet Paramount has yet to move on them for obvious reasons.
It's gonna take a while.
That's how we roll.
Hey, at least we can all enjoy some good old-fashioned camp through the TV show. Number 9. Conan the Barbarian. Following his fan-favorite appearance as Drogo on Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa took on another brutal role in Conan the Barbarian.
Your reward.
I do not want your gold.
Arnie may have captured the role in the 80s, but Momoa definitely showed potential as a successor. However, we're grateful he'd go on to land Aquaman, because he was absolutely wasted in this reboot. The film was lambasted by critics for its shallow characters, unnecessary overuse of 3D, and weak performances. Audiences didn't seem that interested either, as it only made around 2/3 of its total budget back. Unfortunately, Conan was just another bad action movie that came and went. While various plans for another film have been discussed over the years, nothing has ever come of it.
Please, I beg you one last time, do not do this.
Number 8. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Horror reboots usually get a bad rap, though with movies like this, we'd say that reputation has some merit.
I told you if you keep falling asleep, they're gonna kick you out of here.
Warner Brothers and New Line released this revival for Freddy Krueger in 2010, and reactions were both negative and consistent in their criticisms. While Jackie Earle Haley as the lead was a great pick, his co-stars failed to bring anything to the script, which itself lacked any depth and characterization.
They're just dreams. Okay, they're not real.
These dreams, they're real.
It was all style and no substance, yet it still became the most profitable entry in the franchise worldwide. Although a second remake was considered, New Line chose to focus on the Conjuring series. Considering the sheer volume of negative reviews, we'd say that was a smart choice.
I'm gonna need a refill on that, please.
On this, you're out of refills.
Number 7. Charlie's Angels. The love for Charlie's Angels has endured for a surprisingly long time.
If you want to bake a cake, you got to break a few eggs.
The camp and badassery of the 70s TV series transitioned well to the big screen in the early 2000s. Sadly, it seems the Angels' time in the spotlight is over. Following a disastrous TV revival in 2011, the property was given another shot in 2019 again as a movie.
All this looks very promising. Outstanding.
Written and directed by Elizabeth Banks and starring Kristen Stewart, it seemed a shoo-in to at least get audiences interested in the IP again. As we know, that didn't happen. Charlie's Angels only garnered mediocre reviews. While it isn't nearly as bad as some other reboots, it was also a box office disappointment, which crushed any hopes for a sequel.
Why are you here? The same reason you are. I should be dead.
Number 6. Hellboy. On paper, an R-rated horror-centric Hellboy sounds fantastic.
This is not a task to be taken lightly, Hellboy.
In execution, it was anything but. It began as a third installment in the original series, but Guillermo del Toro was only offered a producer role. Wanting to write and direct the way he had for the first 2 films, del Toro took his leave, as did leading star Ron Perlman.
Damn! Could you please be a little careful?
Lionsgate then went the reboot route with David Harbour in the title role. Harbour could only do so much in a movie more concerned with violence than anything else. Hellboy had a messy plot, weak characterization, and a severe lack of passion, leading it to be a box office bomb. Director Neil Marshall even disowned it, claiming producer interference during shooting and editing made it the worst professional experience of his life.
You want to play games, huh? Tell you what, let's break out the Yahtzee, otherwise I'm not interested.
Number 5. King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. The tales of King Arthur and his knights have been told across movies, TV, video games, and other forms of media for decades. There's likely nothing that will ever change that. However, Legend of the Sword is a special case.
If I'm moving too fast for you, Bedivere, you can let yourself out the side door.
You seem to have found your way very quickly.
Directed by Guy Ritchie and starring Charlie Hunnam, it followed the young king retaking his throne from the uncle who betrayed and killed his father.
He was jealous of your father's throne, so he made a deal with Mordred that they would share power once he defeated your father.
With Ritchie's energetic style of filmmaking clashing with the setting and plot, the final product was an uneven adventure that failed to make its budget back at the box office.
What is this about, Jack?
Rebel graffiti. A young boy. Your boy. Blue boy.
And he's a good boy.
It was originally planned as a franchise opener with 6 movies in total, but its poor reception and revenue canceled any talk of those future endeavors. Number 4, Dolittle. Hugh Lofting's Dr. Dolittle books have been adapted into a variety of forms, including some very loose modern-day adaptations starring Eddie Murphy.
Looks like they need to talk to a doctor, Doc.
Our butts hurt.
Okay, let's do this.
The 2020 adaptation, starting from scratch and falling more in line with Lofting's books, and with Robert Downey Jr. in his first post-MCU role no less, should have been a home run.
Express emotional vulnerability.
What we got instead was genuinely painful, with lowbrow jokes, a parade of lifeless CGI animals, and a rare bad performance from Downey that earned him a Worst Actor Raspberry nomination.
You alright, fellow? Something smelled wrong. And that's coming from a guy who loves the smell of butts.
Ooh, you do love butt.
What's worse is that with a bloated budget of $175 million, it reportedly lost Universal somewhere between $50 and $100 million. This may be the last time we see the Good Doctor. Number 3, Fantastic Four. While Fox's first attempt at the Fantastic Four was a bit weak, it was Oscar-worthy compared to what came next. With a promising cast and director Josh Trank hot off the success of his directorial debut, Chronicle, we had high hopes for the team's return. Unfortunately, the project had a lot of behind-the-scenes troubles, namely studio interference.
What if it takes more time to get it right? We could be talking years.
I am not going to be a tool.
Nearly every element was panned by critics and audiences, from its dull plot to its poor effects to its dismal characterization.
Is this the way you want the rest of your life to be? You keep acting out.
Seriously, this version of Doctor Doom still hurts us. Not only was it buried by negative reviews, it was also a rare superhero financial bomb, reportedly losing Fox more than $80 million. A sequel was planned and cheesily teased, but died quickly after the movie's release.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Number 2, The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger and Tonto were beloved Western heroes across radio, TV, and film for decades. That legacy came crashing down with Disney's 2013 installation.
This is worse.
It was the property's first movie since 1981, but with the same team behind the original Pirates of the Caribbean movies, it could have been a fresh start. Problems were prevalent from the beginning, unfortunately, including controversy surrounding casting Johnny Depp as Tonto, who's Native American, and a ballooning budget that nearly got the film canceled.
We did happen to notice a number of fairly serious health code violations.
When it did release, it was criticized for a dull plot and action scenes, as well as an overly long runtime. It became one of the biggest box office bombs of all time, losing Disney between $160 million to $190 million and ruining ambitions for a follow-up.
I do not fear what comes next.
Nothing.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, The Mummy. It's one thing for a movie to kill a planned sequel, but something else entirely to kill a planned shared universe.
Nick! Don't even think about it.
In 2017, Universal rebooted its Mummy series, which had found success during the reign of classic movie monsters, as well as the Brendan Fraser-led franchise. The Dark Universe was announced prior to the premiere, which would have rebooted other monsters and tied them all together.
Sacrifice!
Just stop.
For the greater good!
I'm not interested in that at all. Okay.
Don't!
Okay,
Ninja.
we're just gonna take a minute, and we're all gonna come up with a new plan.
But then, The Mummy hit theaters. Criticism aimed at its acting and poor plot, which was partially used to haphazardly set up the Dark Universe, were rough, to say the least. The movie also didn't make nearly as much money as it needed to, and thus the Dark Universe perished before it even had a chance to begin.
You know, I always thought I had a chance with her.
What?
How do you squander that?
There's mercury in that tomb.
I mean, how do you mess that up?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.